How beautiful is our country, how great is our history. A sense of pride of the treasures all over Egypt. This pride is even intensified by the presence of an aware political leadership represented by His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, a political leadership keen on representing Egypt in the best way possible, creating a future filled with opportunities for all Egyptians while preserving the history and heritage of Egypt to the future generations and to the whole of mankind. Such efforts have borne fruit in an unprecedented time because this was done by experts and professionals in all fields. Dear guests, please welcome with me His Excellency Dr. Khaled Al-Anani, the Minister of Tourism and Antiquities.
In the name of Allah, most compassionate, His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, President of Egypt, ladies and gentlemen, guests of Egypt, millions of those who are lovers of the Egyptian civilization in Egypt and worldwide. The movie only showed the case a very tiny bit of the whole file of the civilization efforts, and the documentary was only showcasing how we took interest in all of the civilizations regardless of the historical era, religion or geographic location. Throughout the past few years we were able to open and develop more than 20 museums, restore more than 100 monumental sites. The Grand Egyptian Museum took a leap and it is about to be completed. The number of monumental excavations exceeded 30 pre-corona that actually led to very important monumental explorations, behind which whole generations of archaeologists, restorators, and I have the honor to work with this team. I would like to note that during the coming phase, openings of museums or sites shall be successful. And we completed 100% of the Egyptian museum in the new administrative capital, and we have a notable advancement in Muhammad Ali Museum and also in the Greco-Roman Museum in Alexandria, and we are working on the festival or the celebration of the global event of opening the Grand Egyptian Museum, in which we have a whole host of Egyptians and public figures as well as foreign figures, leaders of the world, to attend this celebration. Your Excellency, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to your constant support to the tourism, your personal and constant support and monitoring of the file, the financial support that is unprecedented designated to the tourism file, and also you adopted the idea of organizing the Mummies Parade. When I introduced it to you, introduced this idea to you in 2019, and you were very clear that the event will come to light adequately and cover all of the points of the journey of this parade. And the most important point is that you honored us with your attendance. It's a civilization unique tourism in Egypt. It is unprecedented and it will not be recurrent. That actually underscores that the Egyptian state puts our civilization on top of these priorities, and it takes pride in our predecessors. So during the past few days, nothing that over echoes the Mummies Parade. And we have 400 cameras, Egyptian journalists and news agencies, and I'm sure and certain that this event will promote Egyptian tourism worldwide, and also it will connect more between the Egyptians and our tourism. We have 4 champions of this event, 22 mummies of kings and queens, led by Skenan Ra, who actually launched the war against Hexus after which other mummies, and they are taking the final journey, and they were prepared properly. What do you mean by this final journey? Did they move before? Yes, they moved several times. So during some weak eras, they were collected and they were buried in two caches in Luxor. And when they have been discovered at the end of the 19th century, they moved to Bulak. And after that, it had been moved to a palace in Giza. After that, it had been moved to Al Tahrir Museum until 1902, until 1930, where they actually moved to the tomb of Saad Zaghlul. So today we are giving them the final journey. They will be displayed properly, scientifically, that provides them with the necessary awe. Everybody asks me the question, why the mummies did not go to the Grand Museum and to the NMEC when the cultural leaders thought about it, that they considered creating a museum by the pyramids with the champion Amun, and another museum with the champion of the royal mummies. So the tourism is going to go to Al Tahrir Museum to see all the main artifacts, and then to these NMEC in order to watch the Egyptian mummies. And I would like to thank them very much for the idea of creating those grand museums. The idea of setting up the museum had been set up in 1980, and I would like to welcome Her Excellency, head of the UNESCO, and the two ministries of tourism, the Saudi and the Greek. And then the founding stone had been put in 2002, but it stopped in 2011, and the inauguration of the temporary hall had been inaugurated then. NMEC is a grand project. However, I'd like to tell you that all what you see is Egyptian design. My archaeologists and monuments, my colleagues in the ministry, actually, they are in charge of this display, and I would like to thank very much the armed forces body of the projects. And today His Excellency the President inaugurated the Central Hall, which tells the Egyptian civilization throughout the eras, and also the Mummies Hall received the sacrovage. However, we are going to open it to the public in 18th of April, because the mummies need some preparation until they are displayed to the public. The third champion after the mummies and the NMEC is the Tahrir Museum, which had been inaugurated in 1902, and I would like to reassure you that it will not die, but rather it will be restored. But the major champion that embraces all of us is Cairo, the beautiful Cairo that is dressed in a new garment, impressive, dazzling. And I would like to tell you that the Royal Mummies Parade contributed to the beautification of Cairo, because we developed all of the landmarks through which the parade shall pass under daily supervision of His Excellency Madbouli, the Prime Minister, and he took personal visits to all of those places, including the Egyptian Museum and the NMEC. And last but not least, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to all of my colleagues in the government and all of the entities of the state that took part in the development efforts until this event came to light. And I would like to thank the Egyptian company that organized this unique event. And from here, I would like to stand and reassure the whole world that we know very well the value of our heritage, and we don't actually spare an effort in order to preserve it. I wish you to enjoy the golden parade of the mummies. Thank you very much.
And now the long-awaited moment. the cultural, historical event that is the most important for the year 2021, an unprecedented event where efforts were exerted by all state institutions and volunteers, the heads of the orchestra, the artists, decor designers, interior designers, directors, youths of universities. All of them are Egyptians who have volunteered to organize the event. Throughout months of continuous work, they cater to all artistic details. In just a few moments, we will witness the final and last movements and procession of the mummies throughout the streets of the Great Cairo. Your Excellency, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, we are about to start the Golden Parade of the Royal Mummies.
ولا مليت أنا اللي في وش زمني وقفت ولا اتهزيت أنا الفكرة اللي عايشة سنين أنا الموضوع أنا الصوت اللي وقت الصمت كان مسموع أنا اللي في وش زمني وقفت ولا اتهزيت أنا الفكرة اللي عايشة سنين أنا الموضوع أنا الصوت اللي وقت الصمت كان مسموع مستحيل تتعد حضارة عمرها ما تموت تاريخ عمره بعمر الأرض أنا الشمس اللي بعدت نور ونورت الطريق للكون أنا مصر اللي من غيري ميزان الدنيا دي يختلف أنا كل الفروع والأصل ولي أثر في كل مكان أنا الشمس اللي بعدت نور ونورت الطريق للكون أنا مصر اللي من غيري ميزان الدنيا دي يختلف أنا اللي في وش زمني وقفت ولا اتهزيت أنا الصوت اللي وقت الصمت كان مسموع
Great. The miracle of ancient Egyptians is that they are great, even according to modern standards. Given all the advancements achieved by the human race in sciences, in arts, yet the ancient Egyptian civilization is still capable of mesmerizing us by all its mystery and secrets, secrets that are uncovered day by day. And to this day, its discoveries echo across the whole world. And when we head to any destination and we say we're Egyptians, people's eyes sparkle. And with a voice full of enthusiasm, they say Egypt, the land of enchantment, the land of beauty, the land of history. When people from all over the world seek the roots of civilization, they end up here in Egypt, al-Dunya, mother of the world. The Pyramid of Cheops, the most significant of the seven wonders of the world, standing tall for over 4,500 years, and to this day scientists and scholars find it an unresolved mystery. How were the Egyptians able to build something as grand and meticulous as such, with tools considered to be less than primitive compared to the technology of today? The answer is simple. Egyptians were able to build this giant edifice with intellect, with knowledge and skills, and more importantly, creed and faith, belief, faith. Those are the true secrets of immortality. Well, those are the Egyptians, simply. Across millennia, people from all over the world have been arriving here just to visit this great monument, the construction of which is considered an architectural miracle of a genius architect and an inspirational artisan, intricately using an exceptional palette of radiant colors and inscriptions. Deir al-Bahari Temple, built by Queen Hatshepsut, the most prominent queens of Egypt and the whole world, built 3,500 years ago in the embrace of the mountain in West Luxor. Hatshepsut testifies to the greatness of Egyptian women, their cleverness, skillfulness, wisdom, and resilience. During her reign, architecture and construction flourished, and her remarkable monuments stand tall to this day. And so she's the origin of the Egyptian proverb, a woman as strong as 100 men.
The Egyptian proverb also said that Egypt is extremely fertile, and as it provides talent and creativity, civilization and culture, that's why Egypt is rich in antiquities, because it's the first land that experienced stability and prosperity. Maybe one of the most famous discoveries that mismurmured the world on the land of Egypt was the tomb of the young pharaoh Tutankhamun. The archaeologists discovered the entire contents of the tombs. The mummy was mummified, very well preserved in its unique sarcophage, and its golden mask is still glowing as it was just crafted yesterday. Just imagine one single tomb is holding more than 5,000 artifacts. Most certainly we need to be exhibited in a grand museum, just like the one we are witnessing. It is going to be displayed first in the Grand Egyptian Museum, which is the largest cultural and civilization project in the 21st century on the land of Egypt.
For thousands of years, people have been wondering how ancient Egyptians managed to build such a great civilization. How could they sculpt architectural marvels out of rocky mountains using just some primitive tools? How was the pyramid built? The sun aligns itself on the face of Ramses at a specific time every year. But how? For thousands of years, people have wondered what's the secret of the ancient Egyptians, until about 200 years ago, when Champollion, the French Egyptologist, finally managed to decipher the hieroglyphic scripts through the Rosetta Stone. The truth was so simple, yet so astounding. The mystery of ancient Egyptians is not in a papyrus, nor is it inscribed on a mural. Their secret is not limited to their knowledge of astronomy, medicine, or engineering. The greatest secret behind ancient Egyptians lies right here, in the heart. A deeply rooted creed and faith resided within the heart of the ancient Egyptian, marked by values of love, justice, good, and peace. The ancient Egyptian believed in the concept of Ma'at, the universal order, which favors good, truthfulness, justice, and equality, rejects chaos, evil, and injustice. Ancient Egyptians believed in the concept of reward and retribution, as well as life after death and final judgment. Not only did ancient Egyptians master engineering, medicine, and mummification, but through their faith and creed, the ancient Egyptians possessed the key to life itself.
Ancient Egyptians understood the soul, and they had faith in the purity and eternity, and they understood that the body is a trust and they have to maintain it when the soul departs to its creator. All the construction, building, and architecture, astronomy, and also the mummification mystery was all motivated with the faith in verity, justice, resurrection, accountability, and immortality, hoping for an afterlife, an ideal life void of conflicts and evil, an eternal heaven accommodating those who have done good.
If we look around to everything that we've accomplished, we will realize that everything started out merely as an idea, a seed that sprouted within one's imagination, one who had a dream of shaping life differently. His belief in the idea pushed him to strive to achieve it. Through knowledge and skillfulness, he turned the dream into reality. Imagination and creativity are the secrets behind history's first integral stone building and the first pyramid-shaped construction ever known to mankind. Through imagination and creativity, ancient Egyptians have adapted their knowledge, their skills, and their resources, as said in colloquial Egyptian language, to get ready for the afterlife, to leave a legacy of everlasting monuments and timeless antiquities, an absolute miracle of engineering and architecture. Yet the inscriptions there are our true heritage. These are the voice of the human living conscience that attests to our pure instincts ever since the beginning of creation.
The faith of ancient Egyptians created their civilization, built their nation, the oldest fully integrated civilization known to history. Their faith and doctrine fortified their power, and their army was by far one of the most powerful armies. It protects and safeguards people in honor, and their antiquities that are still standing tall is a witness of their greatness that emerged from their faith, and their civilization is recounted throughout history as a glory humans take pride in, and along the course it shall remain as the compass, the energy source of inspiration for all humanity.
تزل يقظانة العينين صلبة القدم في الأرض كالجبل وفي السماء للذرى وللقمم مصر لم تنم ما خر سورها العتيد من هدم من هار شعبها العظيم من هزم ولم يزل مزودا بأعرق القيم متوج الأمل في الأرض الهرم وفي السماء للذرى وللقمم مصر لم تنم ما خر سورها العتيد من هدم من هار شعبها العظيم من هزم ولم يزل مزودا بأعرق القيم متوج الأمل في الأرض كالهرم وفي السماء للذرى وللقمم